football system.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel here, and we are talking the Germany showdown game between the Colts and the Patriots. Mike Petta here, go by Hoop 2410 in the industry. This is the last of the Germany games. Had the one last week, have this one this week. We've got the Patriots and the Colts. Colts are favored by 2.5, and the total in this game is sitting at 42.5. Obviously not two of the most exciting teams in the NFL, and probably the reason why they're over here playing this game. But prize pool is pretty big, especially over on DraftKings for this standalone game. Starts at 9:30 Eastern. In terms of this game, what we're offering over at ShipItNation.com, we'll have core plays for DraftKings, for FanDuel, and then for cash games as well. So we have you covered on all fronts over on our site, ShipItNation.com. The way we do these shows, kind of go through, talk about some captains that stand out as plays, talk about some flex, talk about some correlation, and see what we can find. See if we can't get ourselves in the winner's circle here to start out our Sunday on a good note. So in terms of the captain plays, not a ton that immediately stand out to me. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is a play. I mean, he's the most expensive on the slate at 11.4. And if you want to play him in the captain spot, it is 17.1, but he's kind of stabilizing that role. 18 carries, 5 targets last week, so 23 total touches, got 18 fantasy points. I think it's a good spot to deploy him. The running back on the other side, Ramondre Stevenson, I think is another guy that we can kind of play in that captain spot, mostly for his recent increase role in the passing game. 6 targets in his last 3 out of 4 games, 5, 6, 2, 4 catches. That's big. Those are, easy points right there to get those little dump offs. If he's going to get 5 catches, I mean, that's close to, 4 or 5 catches, that's close to a touchdown. So I think he's a play. Michael Pittman gets a big boost here. It sounds like Downs is going to be out, and Pittman is the perfect type of DK wide receiver, possession type wide receiver that gets a lot of targets, should get increased targets here as well. So these are the 3 most expensive guys on the slate, but they're also my 3 favorite captains. Other captains to consider, honestly, there's not much that I like. I mean, if you watch our normal YouTube shows for Showdown, a lot of those are over on the Mayo Media Network. I try to keep it tight, a tight core at the captain position. Probably going to be the case again today. Other guys I might consider up there be like Hunter Henry on the Patriots side. 2 touchdown upside for sure if they're trailing. Demario Douglas, don't really love him all that much. But I view the Colts as just a very consolidated offense at this point, especially with Downs now out. So I really like the Jonathan Taylor play. I really like the Pittman play. And then Ramondre Stevenson would be the number 3 for me. But I want to keep it tight up top because, again, I don't see the benefit of going cheap at captain either, just because I don't think there's enough guys that can score, 20 fantasy points on the slate that I think I'm going to need in my lineup. So I'll be keeping it tight up top. In terms of the other plays, both quarterbacks I definitely prefer in the flex. Minshew and Mac Jones. I like Minshew over Mac Jones. I'm just not a Mac Jones guy for all the right reasons. I mean, it's just not a very good real life or fantasy quarterback. So I'm in on both of those guys. Let's come down here a little bit. Zach Moss, don't necessarily love Zach Moss. You can see the work now starting to go to Jonathan Taylor. Moss still has a big boy price tag at 8.8, so that's probably a fade for me. Douglas, like I talked about, limited participant on Thursday. I'm willing to bet. He plays. If he doesn't, a big boost to some of these other guys, but we're not going to know until likely Sunday morning on Douglas. But I'm assuming he's in, and I do like him as a play. Downs, I'm assuming out. He didn't practice on Thursday. If anything changes in terms of his availability, again, we probably won't know until Sunday morning, but I'm going under the assumption that he's out, which is part of the reason I like so many of those Colts guys. Got all the backup QBs in here. We already talked about Hunter Henry. Kind of liked him in the cat. Don't like him in the captain. He would be like 4th or 5th in terms of my preference at captains. Again, I want to keep it pretty tight. Fine with him in the flex. And then we get the kickers and defenses. I'm definitely siding with the kickers here. These defenses continue to get the job done. Happened again last night in that Bears and Panthers game. Get the punt return for a touchdown. I like the kickers more. Definitely prefer Gay. I like the Colts in this game. So I'll he'll be my favorite out of this foursome here of the Colts and the defense and the kickers. Patriots at 4K, I guess fine with them. In terms of some of these cheaper options down here, Juju at 3.8, I think is a fine option. I mean, it's a cheap price tag for, used to have some upside. I mean, how much does he have now? Who the hell knows? But at 3.8, he doesn't really need to do a ton. Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, again, don't like the guy, but at 3.2, if he gets in the box, like if they give him a carry inside the 1 and he scores and ends up with like 7 or 8 points, like at 3.2K, that's probably enough. Got Granson at 2.4. I think he's a play. 2.4 is very cheap. Again, same mindset. Like if he gets in the end zone, like you're probably going to need him. Isaiah McKenzie should get a nice little boost, assuming Downs is out. He's only 2,000. Mike Gesicki, I think, is definitely a fine option. Thornton at 1.2, I think is fine. And then Alec Pierce should get the big boost as well if our guy's out, if Downs is out, which sounds like he is going to be out. And then Jalen Reagor at $400, I think, is a guy that we can play here. I was on the field quite a bit. 6 targets. I mean, 6 targets for a $400 guy. Certainly someone we can consider in our fantasy lineup. So that's kind of some quick thoughts on this Germany game here. The captains, Taylor, Stevenson, Pittman are my favorites. Not a huge fan of the defenses here. I'm good with some of these kickers, and I do think we have some cheap options. Smith-Schuster, Elliott, Granson, McKenzie, Reagor, Pierce, all solid cheap options. So a lot of ways to go. Roster construction, I'd totally be fine leaving some money on the table as well. Good chunks, not just a little bit, not a couple hundred. I think thousands are totally fine in terms of how much you're willing to leave on the table. Make sure to get on over to SHIPITNation.com for all our content, not only for the Showdown slate, but for the main slate as well. And then on the way out, please do us that favor, hit the like and subscribe. We appreciate your support as we continue to build up this channel and our business. Thank you so much. Make sure to tune in Sunday morning, Mayo Media Network, 9:45 Eastern for our main NFL show. Myself, Tambo, and Title will be talking through the entire slate, talking every game. So make sure to tune into that Sunday morning. Good luck in your contest. We'll be back again, like I said, on Sunday morning, Mayo Media Network.